Hey everybody and welcome to a new video. My name is Midway and I hope you're having a wonderful day, cause I sure am. And welcome to a new Legend of Mushroom video. Today we're gonna be talking a little bit about the new class, especially of course the two versions of it once you do get to Ascend. We're gonna be giving a little bit of tips on the Spirit Summoner as well as the Beast Tamer classes and what they are really about, a little bit of how you should build them, some tips, some tricks, some builds. All in all, just a little bit of a general coverage before we dive deeper into further guides down the line into how you should really be building these two new classes. So before you get into that, please go ahead and check out Aptoide if you haven't done so yet in the past. If you were using my code back in the day, now it's expired, so I got a new one down here. You should be changing to this one if you still want to be benefiting from those very sweet bonuses from using Aptoide. If you have used my code in the past, really appreciate it and you really make the whole thing worthwhile doing these videos and such. And if you have never used Aptoide, you are a new player or whatever, definitely be checking it out. I'll be talking a little bit more about what it's all about at the end of the video. For now, let's get into it. So a little bit of a recap. Back in the day, there used to only be three classes. We had the archers, we had the warriors, and we had the mages. But not so far ago, we now got the fourth class, the Spirit Channeler. It's been a little bit of a forgotten class since it's not that easy to build and it's not that straightforward, because the whole idea about these two classes is to be quite dependent on their pals. One of the versions of it is going to be a little bit more than the other one, so we'll be seeing specifically how these two should kind of be built and thought about. So first of all, let's start with the Beast Tamer, the more pal-focused version of these two classes, and of course, well, let's just go through their skills. So let me just pull out the better version, right, the last one, which is gonna have all the things, right? So first and foremost, you are going to be having an extra pal slot, so instead of having 5, you will be having 6, which means you are able to get more of those sweet bonuses out of using pals. You also got increased pal base attack speed by a little bit, as well as some evasion that's going to be going on to you. Then you have increased pal crit rate by quite a meaningful amount, so your pals are going to be dishing out a little bit more damage. We also have increased pal damage multiplier by 20%. And finally, we also have pal damage scaling with the lesser the HP of the enemy is. So for every 10% HP lost onto the enemy, your pals are going to be dealing extra 4% damage. All in all, you just see that it's pretty much just focus around your pals doing the job for you, and you are going to be trying to comboing them as best as you can in order to make that work. So we also have the active skill, which is going to be doing the following. It's going to be doing a lot of AoE damage as per usual. And also it's going to be reducing the pal damage resistance of targets that you hit, meaning that of course they will be taking more damage from your pals. And then you are also going to be allowing your pals to ignore enemy evasion for 10 seconds. Therefore, straight up, you are just going to be doing more damage with your pals. That's pretty much all you really want with this kind of build. So all in all, what pals you want to be using to combine together to really just get the most out of all these buffs, right? So there's some pals that are going to be having some very, very sweet effects. For example, we have your Wealthy Lizard. Straight up, pal damage is going to be increased by 80% and ignore evasion by 10%. It's also an immortal one, which means it's going to be having some hefty base stats, which also of course mean that it's going to be just stronger altogether. The level of course really also affects a lot of that. And then you have stuff like this one, which is going to just have pal damage increased by 60% for simply having this one deployed. Then we could also think about stuff like, for example, just using a little bit of defensives. It's always nice to put together some pals that are going to be doing some nice work for us. So for example, some HP regen from the Kung Fu Master, not going to be bad whatsoever. The longer we are alive, the longer our pals can be dishing out the damage for us. We can also go for something like, well, the Snow General, which if I can find right now, was going to be somewhere around here. The one that, yeah, there we go, the Snow Goblin, but the better version of it, which is this one. There we go, yeah. Reducing the enemy's attack speed, so a little bit of just survivability out of reducing the enemy's efficiency, and straight up just some decent stats, right? So all in all, you can check out the stats of your pals. As you can see, for example, this one has a pretty decent damage multiplier, but that's also really affected by the level of the pal, but all in all, look at the stats, right? So you will have differences between these guys, mainly on the damage multiplier, but also on the attack speed side of things. So the slower your pal is going to be attacking, the more damage their attacks is going to be doing baseline. Everything kind of just straight up, just this is all just like stacking buffs that you can check out as they are put together onto your pal. So those are not really affected by what pal you are using. One that would also be a pretty obvious choice would be Tamer, which is now it's not obtainable anymore, unfortunately. It was part of an event which might come back not that far off from now. But for example, this one would increase pal crit rate and final pal crit by quite some seconds after the battle starts. And those are quite some amounts, right? So straight up just buffing your pals for quite a little bit. Excuse me right there. Then let's think a little bit about skills, right? So, of course, even though we are mainly focusing on having the pals do the damage for us, we also want to be really just putting together a decent set of skills that's going to be backing us all together with this, surviving a little bit, just allowing us to gain more time. So something that would be pretty decent here would be, of course, to just as always use our trusty smoke bomb. The trusty smoke bomb is going to be just reducing the damage resistance of targets, so it's just more damage. Pretty good for pretty much any class, but it doesn't really mean that you are going to be buffing your pals directly. It's more like debuffing the enemy. Also doing things like using Blitz Assault, depending on the situation. If you really just want to be surviving stuff, it's a pretty decent choice. Clone Strike, always going to be good no matter what you are playing. And then, well, things like Easy Breezy, or yeah, more stuff like, for example, your usual just pal focused kind of skills, like for example this one, Winged Dreams, just granting all pals 20% combo rate, and then every combo rate is going to be increasing the combo multiplier for your pals, stuff like that. That's really just going to be trying to do a little bit for you in the side of the pals, like for example at Censored Will, granting all pals more crit rate. This one's especially very interesting since it's a very aggressive one. So it's all a matter of getting a combination between what you can get out of this, like a little bit of extra survivability, a little bit of extra damage somewhere, and then of course a little bit of just stunning the enemy. For example, Disarm, always extremely good. And doing things like, for example, playing your usual Nature's Renewal and Shroom Shield at the beginning of the game, of course, also going to be very helpful to survive a little bit. So yeah, I will be using stuff that really just can make you survive a little bit longer, as well as putting out a little bit more damage, like for example Ancestral Will. And that's really what you should be aiming for your pals to get a little bit of a buff where they can, but not neglecting your defenses, as well as doing the same thing for skills, getting some damage where you can, and also neglecting your survivability elsewhere. Now the Supreme Spirit side of the new class also focuses on pals because, well, they still have the added extra pal slot, and then we are going to be having a different kind of focus around how you want to be buffing your pals. So we're going to be having increased pal attack speed as well. This is basic for both of the different specs, also the Ignoration, but here's where things start to diverge. So your pal deploy effects are going to be enhanced, so they're going to be a little bit more impactful, and then we're going to be having an extra effect based on the first two pals that you are going to be selecting in your lineup. So this is going to be a very long list, and it really just kind of comes to a point where yeah, how specific you really want to get, right? Because there's just so many different kinds of effects depending on what the pal combination is going to be. So you should be kind of choosing to go for one certain type of strength. You want to be going for the extra attack speed. Are you going to be putting some extra combo, crit rate, extra counter? How do you want to be building it? You want to be getting some more defense, increased global attack, HP, global defense. Yeah, it's a really kind of situation where it's not easy to put it together and just be satisfied with the choice, because there's so many different choices. But it's going to be coming down again to just how well you can achieve of a combination just based off of the pals that you just think are the best, right? Sometimes the choice is really not going to be anywhere near important, because it's going to be a much bigger matter of, is the deploy effect of the pal good? Then what am I getting out of this? Passive skill, is it good? Yeah, whatever, I'm going to be getting it right along. Now, what about the last one? Well, it's also going to be similar. Gain an extra effect based on the number of pals depending of the kind of pals they are. So there are certain races of pals, and depending on how many of each different race, you're going to be also getting an extra kind of skill. So yeah, these ones are even longer, as you can see. Reading through this is quite a list, right? So that's why people don't really play this class that much, because it's not easy, it's not straightforward, and again, it's going to be coming down to you just really put together some pals that are decent, have good deploy effects, and then what can you get out of this? Well, in my case, I'm not really putting this. Obviously, I'm not playing this class, so I'm not even getting the most out of this. I'm just getting some pal combo out of this, and of course, since I'm not getting this passive skill because I'm not this class, I am not benefiting from it. But you will have stuff like skill deal damage to 2% of the enemy's HP. Extra chance of dealing extra damage equal to the enemy's max HP, combo damage extra here, there, right? So there's just so many different things. I'm not gonna bother you too much with this, read through it, but all in all, I'll put a guide where you actually just choose what's best for you or what's like the meta build. For now, just don't really worry too much about it. This kind of build for this different new class, right, the version we're looking at now, is not as straightforward, since depending on the combination, you kind of like would shift your focus towards like a certain set of stats that you really are going to be benefiting more. Maybe you want to be doing some more counter shenanigans, some more combo shenanigans. So yeah, the choices here and what I would prescribe you to focus on, it's not as clear-cut as where the other one was just like boost your damage, boost your attack speed, your crit, and that's going to be your pals doing more damage, and you just go on ahead and try to survive and to support them. Here, yeah, not as clear cut, so we could benefit from whatever, even counter and just like surviving a little bit longer off of getting those extra, that would 1% lost HP on counter. That would be pretty decent for you if you were just focusing on a little bit of a counter buff on what pals you're kind of using. Something like, for example, just using your tortoise to get a little bit of an extra HP shield here wouldn't be bad, like building it like sort of like a warrior, just trying to be tanky. Same thing going on for like using a deer, just getting a little bit more damage resistance. So same thing kind of goes, well, maybe putting together a little bit of that wealthy lizard, as well as putting together that extra parallel damage. Things like that, combining something that is going to be making your survivability a little bit stronger, as well as buffing your pals a little bit. And then if you are going to be going for a certain one of those combos with a specific type of races of the pals, as well as the combinations that are specified, depending on the types, on the fourth passive skill, you know what I mean? Yeah, depending on those, you might be choosing one or the other, but it's really kind of convoluted. And finally, same thing kind of goes for the skills. Not a clear-cut direction here, but I would kind of recommend just go for Blade Pierce for that extra HP that you're getting out of this. Also, Blitz Assault, just surviving a little bit longer, always a very good option. Disarm, again, I would always be using this skill if you want to be boosting your damage, was like we mentioned before. Smoke Bomb, very, very important. I would always put Clone Strike no matter what. It also counts as a summon, not a pal, but a summon that would be boosted by a lot of your buffs. I would also be putting together, I guess like this one would be the choice for the Beast Tamer, and then this one would kind of be the choice for the Spirit Channeler on this one, right? But again, yeah, depends on, are you getting a little bit of combo buffs? Are you getting a little bit of, you know, counter buffs? Yeah, really, really not straightforward. Excuse that, that's my girlfriend. And yeah, all in all, that's really all I got for you today, guys. Hopefully this was a little bit of a help, really. It's what it was, an intention, like looking at these classes, what do they look to you like? Are you attracted to them? I would personally think that being a Beast Tamer would be not that bad of an idea. I guess the theme is kind of attractive. That 6th pal can make some decent combos go for you. But yeah, the other one, the Spirit Channeler, definitely doesn't seem that approachable for most people. And of course, this didn't cover all of the other things like the statue and the stat buffs and all of that, like from the gear and all that stuff. We'll get into that stuff later in more specific guides that are a little bit more in depth. For now, I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of what you would expect from these two classes that are a little bit forgotten at this point in the game. Not that many people are playing them. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you today, guys, on this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and stay a little bit to check out what Aptoide is all about. For those of you that don't know, Aptoide is basically just like Google Play. So let me come out of this for a second and go to the store. So if you are using Aptoide, basically what's going to happen is that whenever you are going to be making any purchase in the game, if you are interested in doing so, you're going to be prompted to pay through the AppCoins wallet, basically. So you're going to be seeing this little portal right here. as you try to make the payment, and it's going to be showing you that once you make a purchase, excuse me, you're going to be getting a bit of a bonus in the form of cashback, really, of a percentage of whatever spending you are doing. So you can see I am getting 16 cents in the form of a cashback after making this purchase. So I can eventually use all those bonuses whenever I have enough of them to make the purchases for me without actually using my real money. You're not losing anything for this. Nobody's really scamming you here, of course. This is straight up just more value for your money. You do a spending, you're going to be getting a cashback, you accumulate enough of a cashback, and eventually you use that cashback to buy anything else anywhere in any other game through Aptoide. So in order to do this, you're going to need to download Legend of Mushroom from Aptoide, and I'll have a guide on how to do so down here, down below in the description. And then we'll also need to set up what's called the AppCoins wallet, which you can also just download straight up from Google Play, set it up on your phone, and here is where you are going to be able to see how much bonus you currently have unlocked after all those cashbacks. You can also see your purchase history within the different games you are playing, as well as here you're going to be able to see that you can input my promo code. There we go. It's going to be down here. So if you enjoy my content and want to help me out, just input the promo code right there, type it in there just like you see on the screen. It's going to be down here as well as in the description. So just type it in there, and that's going to be increasing that bonus that you get from using Aptoide and purchasing in Legend of Mushroom through Aptoide for 5% forever. So that's how you can get a bonus. It's always from 10% all the way up to extra 35% of any amount of money you're spending in the form of those cashbacks. You can also see here any active events that will increase that bonus for a limited time, usually from 5 all the way up to 10% for about 24 hours, as well as here you will see a little bit of a progress tracker of how much more you need to be spending in order to unlock higher baseline bonuses. That's how it works. As you make more purchases, you unlock higher tiers of the bonuses, and eventually you put all that together to reach an extra 35% of any amount of money you're spending in Legend of Mushroom or any other Android game that you play through Aptoide. This only works on Android. Unfortunately, you cannot download Aptoide on Apple, and that's why. So yeah, basically just keep on playing the game. If you are going to be doing so and you want to be getting more value for your money, you might as well do so through Aptoide. It's going to be helping yourself out and helping myself out if you do decide to use my code. All in all, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. See ya.